Hey everyone, it's Jared Gold. The following interview was actually never meant to be released to the public. About 2 years ago, I started a journey to interview the world's most successful people on the deepest ideologies behind their success, not the obvious or trite advice of work hard and set goals or things like that, but digging way deeper to understand their internal operating system, and even just their fundamental beliefs about what reality is. The intent with these interviews was to turn them into a single consolidated book. For those familiar with Think and Grow Rich, which was actually written in 1937, and is still a timeless book in my opinion, and countless super successful people really recommend it, my aim was to write a more modern day and actionable version of that, to really understand kind of a spiritual science of success, if you will, to uncover it and to curate it. And the tentative title of the book was The Unseen Forces. And so that's why you'll hear that phrase in some of the upcoming interviews here. The reason I'm releasing these interviews now is because I gave myself a time limit of about 2 years to write this book. It doesn't mean the book isn't being written, but I'm pausing it for now to reevaluate. Maybe this information is meant to be conveyed in a way that's different from a book, maybe a way that's bigger and better suited for the information. Who knows? But I've been sitting on these amazing interviews and I really want to get them out there. One important note about the interviews is that it's not like a podcast in the sense of these are hyper-researched specific questions to the interviewees themselves. And there are no pleasantries. I had to resist the pleasantries, and my tone is not warm or inviting or anything like that because I just wanted to make the best use of time that we had on our meeting. These were just recorded on Zoom. So anyways, I really hope you enjoy it, and I welcome any and all feedback. I plan to put these interviews online in a variety of different ways, but to learn more about me, just go to my website, Jared Gold, JaredGold.com. I'm really open to all different types of collaboration as well outside of this book. And I feel like one of my main gifts is in interviewing and curating and uncovering what is unseen and unsaid in a variety of different ways. So yeah, check me out. Thanks. I'm excited to introduce my first guest here, Rob Dyrdek. Many of you might know of him from the variety of podcasts he's been on talking about this life philosophy of his, or from the TV show Rob and Big, and now he's on TV with a show called Ridiculousness. And he's also a really successful entrepreneur with the Dyrdek Machine, which is a venture studio, so it's a business that creates businesses. They've had a few big wins so far, and I feel like they're poised to have many more. He has a large footprint in a variety of different ventures, a variety of different ways you might have heard of him. So I want to keep this intro short, but Rob was the very first interview that I did. After hearing him on a variety of different podcasts, I just knew that was the first person to interview for this book. And I sent him a cold email. Fun fact, all the 3 interviewees that I interviewed for this book, I landed via cold email. And he initially invited me on his podcast called Build with Rob, which I recommend. And that was back when he was having guests to give advice to, and now it's more of a solo podcast. And he gave me some great advice. I followed that advice and followed up. And he not only ended up giving me this amazing interview, but also being my first mentor for this book and taking a bunch of his time to give me some really immaculate advice that it was just deeply meaningful to have this person be my first believer, my first champion, as I interviewed these other amazing people afterwards and spoke with a bunch of super legit authors and spoke with one of the world's largest publishers. And it was just amazing to have Rob in my corner from day one. More on that story another time, but this interview was really special for me, especially for that reason. And I'm a big fan of Rob's ideologies, such as harmony over hustle, and the fact that we are these separate systems, these different aspects of our life that all merge together is the totality of our being and our existence. And when we come into a state of harmony by increasing these different areas of our lives, that's when really amazing things start to come to us. That we are all creative and that we are the architects of our lives if we choose to step into that. And deliberately and intentionally designing everything to be this existence that is self-sustaining, that as we live, it just continues to supply us with energy and this continual evolution. I'll let him take it from here. Go ahead and listen in.
What does the phrase the unseen forces mean to you? And when did you become aware of them? And how has that knowledge or belief of their existence catapulted you to these new heights?
The unseen forces are the law of attraction, manifestation, law of awareness, self-belief, gratitude, all of these intangible things that you could never see, touch, or feel that make up the fabric of how all things exist. And I think at a very young age, I became very aware. I really felt I was just really lucky. I always seemed to be in the right place at the right time for opportunities. When I took shots at trying to, what I called in my fantasy factory days of making my own luck, where they just said, come down, you can skate for free, right? Oh, look at that. Here we go. It worked. That was 11 years old, so you built that sort of idea that good things always happen to you and you could always look out into the future and sort of put a vision to something you wanted to accomplish and then see it sort of evolve and happen for you. But it wasn't till I got much older and I really started trying to apply awareness to sort of the magic of the universe and how it actually works and what was really going on in my life that allowed me to capture so much of it throughout all of these years and really begin to look at it in a more strategic way. For me, I was always super creative and had the ability to decide I was going to do something and make it happen. Right. And along the way, crazy things would happen. And so for me, I was really good at the art and magic side. But it wasn't until I got into my 40s when I realized, no, the missing part is the science. Really having clear goals and having clear outcomes that you are hoping to achieve and how all of that ties back to the wholeness of you. Until I tied all those together, did I actually figure out how to harness the unseen forces of the universe to propel me into the ideal life that I created and live today.
It sounds like from an early age, you acted out of this, I want to do what I want to do. What is that feeling of alignment? Because it seems like things were working out for you because you took that authentic action, or any clarification?
Yeah, when you say authentic action, it's really, you're taking these risks based off of what's true to you and what you hope the outcome can be. And in my case, it was, I just wanted to be a professional skateboarder. And so the skate shop was the only place in town that had a ramp. If I'm going to pursue this dream, here's sort of these avenues that I have to open up in order for it to happen. And so the creating that in your mind, well, what if I just call the skate shop and ask if I got 10 people to pay to skate, would they let me skate for free? Now that's taking the shot, right? You're basically now controlling your reality. You now have taken the action in a way for you that still your purpose is to get to that ramp, because that ramp is a milestone in getting you to your dream of being a pro skateboarder one day. You take this outside the box extreme action, and then they just say, oh, come on down. Come on down. This is crazy. This is too funny. Dream come true. I get to go skate this ramp. And here's where the magic happens. They watch me skate that ramp for 20 minutes. And they are like, if this is the first time that you have ever skateboarded on a ramp, you are gifted at skateboarding. We would like to sponsor you and make you part of our team. If this is the first time and you're better than everyone here, you have a real shot at becoming a really big skateboarder. What? Nothing had ever validated it before, but that sequence of events changed the trajectory of my existence forever. I believed that I was really good. I knew I was better than all my friends, but it was validated, then built more belief in me that this was my path and purpose, which motivated me even further to be even more deeply committed to skateboarding itself. Within 5 years, I was a professional skateboarder. And all because of that, sort of single moment, an idea of creating it and shifting reality.
So how do you communicate with these unseen forces or the universe in general?
I think a lot of people have different techniques, but fundamentally, since the beginning of man, we talk to them. And whether you're religious or spiritual or however you do it, you're having a conversation always with the universe. It's like when you're overwhelmed with gratitude, you're thanking the universe. I can't believe how lucky and blessed I am. It's always a conversation. The conversation becomes different based off of your desires and ultimately needs, depending on where you are in what I'd consider sort of your base harmony, right? Because when you get to the level of having a lot of wants and needs and you're really more, I would consider it hope asking rather than going through the process of really visualizing and having clear plans and a deep belief in what you're doing and a deep understanding. And then now you're speaking to the universe through experiencing it and feeling what the future is like and communicating essentially with your future existence. In my case, that's every day when I meditate. It's a guided meditation about manifestation. It's like, man, the clearer I get and the more I grow and expand into life, it's just the sharper the conversations are I have with my future self and the universe and ultimately what I want to attract myself to, right? And over time, it gets more real and more better feeling to you and more real feeling to you because you believe it so much more. Once you do it so much, you got to think I've been doing that every day since 2018. And I would argue in the 4 years that have passed, I have far exceeded what I ever thought was even possible for my life when I started having these conversations in 2018. It's mind-numbing. When you look at my goals from 2018 of what would be ideal life, then look at what 2020 would be ideal life versus 2022, it is completely 3 different human beings.
If you had to name the fundamental laws of the universe that you believe are absolute and unequivocal truth, what would you quickly say those are?
I think number 1, there is infinite abundance, right? And number 2, as a man thinketh, if you can think it, it can become real. And ultimately, you have the ability to do almost anything, right? The universe allows you to learn everything you need to learn to achieve or become what you want to become. All of the information is out there and all of the opportunity is out there for you to create a pathway to achieve it, but you have to do it. Another fundamental law is everything is evolving and you're either evolving into harmony and perpetual growth or you're evolving into disorder and constant struggle. It's how you choose to evolve will dictate the quality of the life that you create. I think people also overlook the fact that every single thing that you do matters. There isn't like, oh, I'm trying to work on my dreams and that's when it's going to get me to my dream if I put in the work to get there. It is every single thought, every single moment of the day, every single hour, every person you talk to, every interaction you have is compounding you towards the high quality ideal life you are seeking to achieve, filled with purpose and passion and abundance, which is ultimately everyone's why. And it is just so important that you don't overlook every hour and every minute of the day and every thought that you have and guide yourself into constantly thinking about what's going to get you into that sort of perpetual state of harmony and abundance.
So the mantra, which I love on your site that really resonates with me, is fueled by the joy of creation. What does the joy of creation look and feel like to you? And how can we discover the joy in creation within each of us and use it as this powerful fuel?
You are a creator. You create your life, you create your day, you create your meal, you create your relationship, you create your career, you create your purpose. Every single thing that you do in your existence is your responsibility to create. It's you. When I say fueled by the joy of creation, I love creating everything. I love the process. I love seeing what is possible in the future and creating it, and then the step-by-step process of it coming alive, and then it becoming real, and then it becoming successful, or it failing and learning the lessons and understanding like, wow, that was crazy. It's better when it's successful and it works, but it's never just about that, right? Why I say it from the Dyrdek Machine and my personal mantra is, despite having quantified financial goals in business and having financial and career goals in my life planning, it's still the idea of creating my life is the most exciting part to me, and creating it and living it and creating it in this sort of special way, and creating a business I look at no different than creating a living thing. It's still this idea. It starts with like two people talking about an idea, and then you start putting people, then it starts becoming real. Then you see it for the first time. Now it's a product. Now people are buying it. Now people love it. Now it's on a mission. It's got a message. It's all these things. I just love all of that, as opposed to be driven by some sort of, hey, if I can just get this to here, that's going to be the life that I need. And now I can buy the house I want and the car, that type of thing. The drive and the energy that I have is fueled by how much I just actually enjoy the creating process.
How do you identify as the creator of your life rather than necessarily the common thing, oh, I'll create this and then I'll be happy or whatever? How do you step a level above and really identify as that everything in your life is your creation and you are thus the creator?
The thing is, it starts with just realizing it, the awareness of, okay, no, I am the creator of everything. I do decide what I'm going to eat and what time I'm going to bed and when I'm going to get up and if I'm going to the gym and who are the people I'm going to hang around. What are the books I'm going to read? Am I going to sit and watch TV all day and have wine and eat chips? Or am I going to read a book that's going to evolve me and go to the gym? You have all of these choices. It is your creation. As soon as you hear it, it's obvious. But you're brought up inside a framework that, like, you got to do your best to find something you like to do because you got to do it for the rest of your life until you retire. Or the other side is like, don't let anybody control your life. You go as hard as you want to create your own destiny and get rich and be a successful entrepreneur. Rather than looking at all of it is your life. It doesn't matter what you choose. And if you are designing that life, creating that life based off of the things that when you think about make you excited, give you energy, all of these things that you would rather be spending your time doing, that is where you have a better understanding and a much better, a simple way of looking at your existence and how you can create it by just looking at all aspects of it and designing sort of plans with milestones inside each of them. Most people just simply don't have the awareness.
I want to circle back when you mentioned how you not only communicate with the universe, but your higher self. So how do you tap into communicating with your higher self? And the reason I ask that is because I imagine when you identify as the creator, you're imagining what would my higher self want me to do?
Yeah.
And maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. So how do you communicate with your higher self besides for just meditating? Like, what does that dialogue look like?
You're not communicating with your higher self. You are seeing and experiencing what it's like to be your higher self. It's not, Rob, what's it like up there, man? It's amazing, man. We got 20,000 square feet, man. Just got this new SF90 Special. You get to experience what it is like to be the ideal version of yourself through meditation. You actually get the choice. If that's what I'd consider the Dr. Joe Dispenza level, your mind and body does not know the difference on what's real and what's not real. You can convince like your entire being that this is your future and draw yourself to it, right? So if that's philosophically what it's sort of based in, then now you break it down. What do the daily conversations look like? In between doing an interview, catching up on emails, doing work, I'm having the conversation in my head about the future constantly. and constantly do what I'd consider positive self-talk. I'm pumping myself up all day versus most people live in this sort of negative self-talk zone. When I'm at my absolute best, I am experiencing the moment, having one foot in experience and one foot in creating the future. It is almost like I can be hyper aware of where I'm at and then drop back into thinking about something that I can create or evolve or become in that moment. Those are the two worlds I drift in between. And because the truth is you live in five, right? You either are dwelling and all upset about something that you did. You're either problem solving and now trying to get something handled. You're either purely experiencing, you're either creating the future, or you're hoping and wishing. And hoping and wishing is pointless because there's no action. It's just wasted energy on what you wish would be. Dwelling, nothing going on there, just pulling energy from you and no action. Problem solving gets you there. Experiencing is living what you've created in the past, and creating is ensuring that your future is what you want it to become. And if you can drop down into living simultaneously in creating and experiencing, it is when you are in essentially this perpetual state of evolution and drawing you towards your ideal existence that will also continually evolve your entire life. Now, you're speaking to the universe and you're feeling the universe in the future. You're beginning to move so rapidly, you're running into manifestation. You're so clear on what you need and want, and you've created all of these sort of avenues on how to capture what you need and want that it finds its way to you. And a lot of times it'll be so much bigger and more profound than you even expected, but it makes that twist and you're off and you're on your way.
How do you recommend one taps into that state of being engaged in the moment while also simultaneously visioning and allowing the future to pull them towards it? How do we get into that state in general?
I like to refer to it as harmony over hustle. You really have to have deep harmony inside your existence. You create harmony by integrating the core systems of your life. Your core systems is your physical health, your mental health, your financial health, your career health, your relationship health, and your lifestyle health. All of these combined create the systems of your existence, and they are perpetually evolving your entire life. And they need harmony and balance from time, energy, and mind share, because each of these things could also pull from you. If you don't take care of yourself, or you don't have a clear financial plan, or a career you don't like, it's going to affect the relationships and you're not going to live the lifestyle that you want to live. It's going to affect your mental health. All of these things are all levers, and you can only dedicate a certain amount of time and energy and mind share to them when you can have clear plans and goals for each of them, and then get better and better at evolving on all of these, which in turn all evolve in a harmonious way. That's when you essentially create the magnetism, that clarity that you've designed. Your wants and needs are so definitive as it relates to the whole that boom, man, things start flying in to support what you're actually hoping to achieve. It's a multidimensional, holistic approach to the law of attraction, rather than if I could just get a new car, could a car show up for me, versus knowing the life that I've designed for myself and what I need and where I want to spend my time. So if I could get a job that made this much money, that gave me this much time, then I could spend this time with my wife and kids and spend this time playing basketball on the weekends and fishing, and then still have the energy to go to the gym and take care of it. And then on the mental health side, if you're out of balance, how it pulls on you. If you're eating bad and not taking care of yourself, how it pulls on you. If you don't like your job and spent all your money and don't have any saved, all of this stuff is pulling on you and keeping you in this sort of unharmonious, sort of dysfunctional system, if you will, that a lot of people get stuck in, and then live like that and just slowly evolve into a dysfunctional human being till the day that they die. That's a path for a lot of people, because when you get so dysfunctional, there's no wig on the pig solution. You can't just start eating right one day because your system's so dysfunctional. You try to eat right and go to the gym for a week and you slam right back into your dysfunction. In order to change your whole life, to change any part of your life, you have to change every part of your life and be seeking harmony in all of it in order to create the energy where then the law of attraction kicks in, and then the things start happening to propel you towards this new, clear, definitive path you're trying to create for yourself.
That's how I guess you merge sort of the scene forces, these different aspects of real tangible life, and that energy cues the law of attraction.
100%. You have to gain clarity and design the path and the outcomes that you want in your life. You have to design them all. Then you have to understand them. And you can't design stuff that you don't understand. And every single thing you would ever want to do in your life, you could break down into 5 milestones. And if you don't believe you can get to the first milestone, you're never going to do it. Most people can create a plan of something, a believable plan, even if it's something big, and you can put an anchor in that first milestone. And all you have to do is inch towards it, and you still believe you're going to get there. If you can't make any movement and you keep trying all these things, or God forbid, you're drifting away from it, that's when you're losing belief. That's when you don't believe it's even possible. And perhaps that's when you need to change the idea because you're not actually making the progress towards the easiest milestone. And if you don't ever get there, you're never going to hit the other 4. It could be the universe telling you you have chose a wrong direction, because on as much as there's the unseen forces in the law of attraction that produce the great, there's also the forces that protect you when you're going the wrong way, and the forces that can hurt you when you're choosing to do the wrong things or thinking in a way that attracts the negative. It swings both ways as it relates to the importance of making sure you get harmony to where you're always thinking about the positive side of things and the evolution of where you want to go. Because if you think constantly on the negative side and think these constant negative thoughts, you're just going to end up attracting the negative side.
You mentioned about the forces that help you when you are like things, as I heard it, things don't work out because that's a force actually protecting you from going down that path that you think is the right one. And it reminds me of what you said on Jay Shetty's podcast before, where you're like, you said, there's something looking out for me, making sure I don't catch an L here, these guardian angels or whatever. So I'd love to just hear a little bit more about that deep knowing or feeling, or how you approach setbacks from the context of, wow, maybe that's even better that didn't work out. Because in the moment, a setback does not feel great. So would you mind sharing about that?
I want to go back to the importance of living a life of deep intention, right? And understanding why you are doing everything, and having clear plans on everything in your existence and the importance of it as it relates to setbacks. As you're growing, evolving into these clear, defined plans, you're motivated, you have self-belief and all these things. And then along the way, you're going to have setbacks, and they are always going to be painful, especially when they're higher stakes and bigger things that you really looked at as these moments that are going to change everything for you, and then they don't end up working or don't happening. Boy, there's levels to setbacks, right? And those big ones are just deafening, so painful. It's basically impossible to believe yourself when you say, well, everything happens for a reason. Things are going to be better. In the middle of the fire, you can tell yourself all you want that, like, oh, everything happens for a reason, but it's burning. When you've grown into a life and have really high quality, harmonious systems, those setbacks are much easier to weather because they become incredibly isolated. Yes, it might be painful, and depending on the type of expectations you put on it, because the depth of the pain of a setback is ultimately the depth of the expectation you put on it. When you have all parts of your system working, setbacks are so much easier to manage. It's when your system is all over the place and now you lean everything into this one moment Like if this can happen and then it doesn't happen, it basically blows the whole system apart. You lose total belief in yourself, your entire purpose of life. What am I even doing? Should I even be doing anything? You can question every single bit of your existence on one of those in every decision you've ever made. How I found such harmony in my existence on the mental health side was from asking myself every day how I felt about my life, work, and health, 0 to 10. That qualitative data of how do I feel about it? Because I was realizing that I would either wake up and look at it half full and be positive, or half empty. It was as simple as that. And if I woke up half empty, I would seriously, I shouldn't even have bought that couch. Why do I even live here? I should move to San Diego. There's so many things that will collapse in on themselves when you're half empty. So if you're in a state where you're always wavering between half full and half empty in an inconsistent state, then you have a setback. Boom, that's what sends you down to where you live in a half empty state for this long, long period of time. But I know from doing it for so many years that the way you end up building a life around these things that you see, that you feel, the people, the different struggles you have, that are the things that you begin to identify that keep pulling you down. They're the same sort of things. And you begin to solve for them and clear those out. Then you now live this perpetual state of half full. So when you do have a setback, you don't get driven down into this negative place. Now you can just feel the pain, but the stakes of it is not nearly as high. And now you get to weather it. It is so much easier for me in my state to be like, well, you know, it is clearly not meant to be, because if it was, it would have happened. Now I look at it through the perspective of, where is it guiding me to? So you will eventually get to a place where you get feedback from the universe that basically tells you that you have chosen the wrong direction. If you are in a higher level, you can now look at it clearly and begin to read it, and then begin to ask yourself, then what would be the right direction? Doesn't mean it's still not painful, but you immediately get out of dwelling and land right on problem solving. In a world of action, evolution, and continual progression, you're problem solving, experiencing, or creating. So when something that can happen and it's painful, but when you immediately start to assess it and then begin to like, okay, what's next? That is when you can begin to use the sign from the universe, if you will, in an incredibly productive way. And then now, if that starts happening, very far and few between, and then every time it does happen, you are able to create a new path, and then that path ends up being this amazing outcome, then you really, really begin to have belief in, okay, this is another setback, but you know from all your past experience to assess it, problem solve it, create a new path, and look at all these ones that you did in the past that you did that, got the sign from the universe, made the adjustment, and look where it is. So despite all of it being so painful, and you're never not going to have a cycle of like the last big setback that I had, so mad at myself. I could have done so many things to prevent. At first I was rejected, so it was like super pain. It was this super painful rejection, and I could easily told myself, hey, it's just not meant to be. It's the wrong path. But boy, I had to dwell in it for a few days. I couldn't talk my way out of it. Even though I took immediate action to problem solve it, it still wasn't enough to get me from skipping back into dwelling and then up to hoping and wishing. I knew if I would have just done like 2 other things, I could have prevented this feeling happening. I couldn't have stopped the rejection, but I could have protected myself from being left in no man's land. A deep lesson. You have to get to a place where you get better and better at believing it happens for a reason, because you've seen it happen for a reason and guide you over and over. In that particular case, I took immediate action. Within 2 weeks, the universe spun my way and then presented this new pathway. And then the most impossible outcome, that then the universe flipped back and the magic popped back in because you took the action and made a call and got really aggressive on trying to correct your mistake. And then the universe came back and created this new path within 2 weeks. And it's from lost and not sure what I'm going to do to fully aligned. Okay, this is what I'm doing for the next 13 years. Alignment within 2 weeks. And then it feels like, okay, you're back. You feel back aligned with the universe. I also feel like you're constantly seeking clarity and harmony, but you're also perpetually evolving. As evolution, there's points of struggle that you have to recognize, and that'll be difficult before you expand to the next level. And it's just part of like getting even more and more aware of knowing that the degree and the stakes of the struggle is less, but the struggle still exists. You want to defend all aspects of your existence and have as much control of reality as you possibly can, so that when things come in and disrupt it, you're just managing them with clarity and intention to get you back into a harmonious state, which inevitably you'll always be hit with some sort of obstacle or another as you continue to grow and evolve in life. It is just the nature of evolution.
Can you, in 30 seconds or less, just define the word state and how you define the word harmony?
When I say state, I'm really talking about your energy. When you combine your energy and mind share together, that is your state. When you are overwhelmed, over capacity, and you have no longer any free mind share, that's when you drift into hoping and wishing and dwelling. Or if your energy state is really low, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, you're in a bad relationship, a job you don't like, there's these things, you're eating wrong, you're not taking care of yourself, you're doing things that you just don't enjoy doing, you're not getting to do the things you enjoy. Harmony is really my word for balance. But when I think of balance, I look at it a little more static, versus harmony is when multiple things are integrated together and having flow. When I say harmony, it's really about all the aspects of your existence are integrated together and seamlessly operating and creating no friction. That's what I seek out more than anything as it relates to living this sort of highly optimized, automated, effortless existence. It's really finding that harmony that allows your existence itself to not draw energy from you, but be in this constant flow state that gives you energy.
And so, one of the things I love about you is you've done a crazy amount of interesting and varied and outlandish things, right? And you just seem to have this infinite access to creativity and ideas. And so my question is, like, do you leverage the universe or unseen forces with your creativity? Do you draw on that from this infinite well of ideas? How does it even come about? Where do all these ideas come from for you?
Like they say in business, ideas are a dime a dozen. It's execution. When I think about all of the things that I've done and the variety of things that I've created and the vastness, I've essentially lived like 5 careers. It was almost like the ability to create and execute was a gift and a curse, because I used to like to say, if you have the ability to do anything and you do everything, stand for nothing. I really think that that's what I did for many years. An opportunity would present itself. Okay, I'm going to do that. I kept thinking, if I just kept creating and doing more and more, that eventually one of these would show me the life that I was meant to live. Instead of designing, stopping and deciding, what life do you want? How do you want to live? And what do you want your life to be? And then deciding to only do things that fit within becoming the person and creating the life that I looked at that point as being the ideal life and version of myself. It's that start at the end mentality. Once I did that, then everything now in the life that I live today is all integrated and all kind of serves sort of a similar purpose against both my core values of how I'm trying to live, how I want to share with people of how they should ultimately live, and then be in the example of sort of what is possible when you integrate all of this stuff together. Everything I do now is essentially towards that core purpose. Now it's evolved over time, right? When I designed the plan and the life that I live today in 2015 and set off on the journey in 2016, I said specifically, I would never want to write a book or do an entrepreneur foundation, because at the time I just wanted to execute the vision, and then 5 years in, it's like, man, this is an extraordinary system. I need to turn this into a book and ultimately share this with people. And then after getting married and having kids and the success that I had, I transitioned from just thinking about the lifestyle and the balance and the harmony I wanted in my marriage life to then in self-preservation. Then the scale got to like, wow, I'm not playing for like self-preservation anymore. I'm playing for generational preservation. How do I now start building a plan that I can affect what it means to be a Dyrdek for hundreds of years, right? What I want to do with what I've created continues to change and evolve, but the core of it remains the same, because I took the time to ultimately design how I wanted to spend time, where I wanted to spend time, what things gave me energy, how I wanted to create my career and business and life and lifestyle, and what were the things that I needed to be fulfilled, and then grew into them and grew past them and evolved into a world I didn't even know could possibly exist, but with the belief that you're going to grow and evolve till the day that you die. And look out, who knows what the future is going to be, but it's going to be extraordinary, because think about how you set out with a life of intention and a plan and a clear path, and then you grew clearer over time and became what you wrote down on paper would be the ideal version of yourself. And now look beyond even what that is, because the ideal version of yourself is going to continually evolve and be out in front of you and chaseable forever. You can just keep getting better and better and better in all aspects of your existence. And that's where true joy, purpose, harmony, and happiness all occur.
You mentioned the word belief. So we're going to dig into that question, right? You've told Tom Bilyeu it's the only thing that matters. You told Ed Milet that once you lean into the idea of I will and I deserve, the unexplainable starts to happen, even if you're not wildly clear on exactly how it will happen. And, I know you had early wins in your life. You mentioned how you were hypnotized by the great George Pratt. Regardless of others having those same experiences, you've said that belief is a process.
Yeah.
So why is belief the only thing that matters?
Belief is not faith. Belief is at your core, where you know it can happen. Because when you know something is going to work, it's easy to stay motivated to keep doing it. You just have to keep going. Only those that lose belief actually give up, because you would never give up on something you set out to do unless two reasons. One, you would lose belief in your ability to do it. That's the only reason you would stop. Or you would realize how incredibly difficult it is and realize it's just not for you. You have to build belief in all aspects of your life, in the health system, the mental health system, the financial system, the career system, the relationship system, all of these things, because you have to create the outcome for your ideal existence. Then you have to create the milestones to get there. And then all you need is progress towards a clear, understandable goal to build belief. And boy, if you start moving faster, then you get to the first milestone, then you get to the second one. Now it's like, I'm going to make it to the end here of the goal that I set. You get to the third one. Now it's inevitable, right? Then it's like, you're at the fourth one, you're just getting better and better. And now it's just a matter of time. Then you get there. That entire stage of those 5 milestones is how you grow and build belief over time. Because if you can't get to the first one, you should lose belief and quit. Because if you can't get there, you're never going to get to the end. You should be able to break down every single thing that you would ever want to do in your life into 5 milestones. And then the first one you set, when you set it, there is zero doubt in your mind that you have the ability to get to that. You build belief by creating clear goals and having clear milestones and progression towards those clear goals. If you do that in your entire life, all aspects of your life, with the intent of, at the end of this, is this amazing life that I wish I could have. When you start at the very beginning, this would be ideal. If you begin to grow at all of those, boy, that's where energy comes from, right? I'm spending the time doing the things that I love to do. Then you're not just believing in one aspect of something you're trying to achieve. You're beginning to believe that you have the ability to create the life that you want. That's really what we're all seeking, to create a high quality life with passion and purpose that we can't wait to get up every day and live. And if you don't believe that you can actually do that, then you're going to stay stuck in your system of living in pockets of pleasure by having all these negative things that give you energy, losing yourself in 2 hours of Netflix or a couple glasses of wine, and get up the next day and get into the torrid rhythm because the universe has conspired against you and your fate and destiny has brought you to here. Occasionally you catch a spark, like, I'm going to make a change. And then you feel around for a different job and try to get healthy for a little bit. And then boom, you go right back into your old ways.
How do your beliefs on fate and destiny, or even faith, bridge that gap to where someone doesn't necessarily get to belief? Or why am I deserving of more? Why am I worthy of more? What are your beliefs on fate and destiny, and how that can spark and bridge that gap to getting that clarity and then the momentum of belief in those steps, if you will?
It's the double-edged sword. If you don't like your life and your existence, it is in a negative way. It's the cards that life dealt me. It was just my destiny to be miserable. If you don't believe you have the ability to change and evolve and grow and create the life that you want for yourself, and then you now believe that you are a victim and this is actually what you were meant to have, it's an incredibly difficult state to get out of. The reality of it is, someone that would read this book, Think and Grow Rich, or any of these, they're taking the first steps. There must be another way. They need to slowly believe that there is another way, that there is a process that they believe is possible. Then go out and test it and see, like, oh, it is actually working. When I think about controlling fate and destiny, there is no complete randomness and uncontrolled fate in the universe, in my opinion. You have complete and total control of your destiny. Only you have to continue to look at, what do you want your destiny to be? And then look at all aspects of what it will take for that to evolve, because your destiny isn't like a job. It isn't just doing one thing. Your destiny is your entire world integrated together to make up your destiny. And your destiny is your life. You have the ability to create the life that you want and the destiny you want. And guess what? When you do that and you begin to expand and evolve towards it, boy, those things step in, those unseen forces and that law of attraction that is like, oh man, like destiny brought this person into my life. Fate brought this person into my life. Oh, look at that. I just got given this opportunity out of nowhere. It must be destiny. When you put yourself in a position to get lucky, to have this intangible luck or magic happen, you can do it over and over again. And you can see it coming when it pops in. Oh, here's another one. And it's like, wow, look at this. This is crazy. To me, it's manufacturing destiny, because I controlled it. I created it. And then when it was going in a direction that I didn't want it to go, then I re-engineered it and sent it in a completely different direction. There's no reason why I shouldn't just be an old war dog pro skateboarder, instead of evolving into this sort of way of thinking and mindset sharing and trying to create a philosophy to help evolve and change people's ways of looking at the world, why shouldn't I be a TV host? I should just be doing random different television shows now that I became a television star. But I continue to change my destiny based off of design. It truly is destiny by design. I pointed my evolution in this direction and then evolved into this person because this is what I wanted my future to become and look like, versus just letting the cards take me on the path that you would have said you were predestined at every single one of these stages. You're born in Ohio, and the only way to find any type of success in Ohio is to graduate high school and go to college and get a good job. And you said, nope, I'm going to be a pro skateboarder, which in Ohio is like outrageous. And then you quit high school to turn pro as a skateboarder at 16. You completely changed your fate. Now, if you take it all the way down, you made a phone call to a skate shop at 11 years old and then validated when you went there, validated that, no, I can do this. And then you went and did it and changed your entire destiny, but then built the foundation of, you see, you can choose your own path. And then had this big skate career, and then was like, I'm going to go do this TV thing, right? And then learned TV and did multiple shows and the whole while doing businesses, but then deciding I'm going to really build systems and business and evolve this unique mindset that I've used, and boom, I'm there. I keep choosing what I want my destiny to become. That is the power that every single person has. It's just a matter of, do you want to develop the skills that it takes to actually do it? And you're no different. You know what I'm saying? Cold email to the conversation, to the kickoff, to what it is. And you don't know what it's going to become. It's still the same way that I got on that ramp and they were like, whoa, this kid is something. Whatever you write is going to make all the difference. You can take this interview, get a couple more, you know what I mean? You took the shots and the doors opened, and then here we are setting the whole thing off, but it still boils down to how it comes together and what you write. That is the intangible. But if you write something special, then it changes your life forever and changes the trajectory. And now these bigger ideas and things that you want to evolve into, so much will reveal itself to you that you have no idea that exists.
I know you love talking about love. We'll skip the amazing story of how you met your wife in the first place, the first date, which I love. But like, tell me how you attracted her. You know, you said God brought her right to you. So like, tell me how you attracted love and your soulmate, and, you know, including but not limited to the man you knew you had to become to attract someone like that.
It goes back to harmony. Before, I was in such chaos where I just thought I would work really hard, party really hard, enjoy a lot, do all this stuff. And then eventually, like I would keep doing that until the love of my life, like destiny, brought us together. And then I figured out how, like, then I found balance and love in that aspect. And I finally came to grips with, like, that's never going to happen. And I began to become the person that the ideal woman that I envisioned would want to be with. That was changing the way that I live, living more balanced, creating more harmony, having more clear long-term goals and purpose in my life and what I was hoping to achieve, rather than being in the state of just work harder and harder till the whole thing figures itself out. I had great success through my 20s and 30s. But it was mired in on again, off again relationships, highs and lows and booms and busts and stress and chaos. It was just complete and total chaos, versus when I finally began to build harmony and looked at it through the lens of, how do I become the person that is perfect for the person that I want to be with for the rest of my life. Just that shift of thinking about that and living that way eventually created the energy that the law of attraction kicked in. And what happens? Boom, run right into her. And there it is. I know how it's one of the most impossible things that there is. To this day, 7 years of marriage, I still treat it as the most absolutely precious thing in my existence. Not only did she help me evolve, but then she gave me the ability to now to look at what does forever look like, because now we're building forever together. And it really helped evolve and change who I am.
Do you have any follow-up tips or whatever in terms of how do you build a home and a family with the energy of love?
I lived this deep life of intention, and then I committed to living a fully balanced life where I put my family at the center of that balance. I'm the energy anchor for the whole house. If anything ever disrupts in this house, I can solve it, and I'm always the person that can be the force of security and the stable energy that keeps everybody feeling it all the time. And then I design life into that. I wake the kids up every day. I do movie night, date night, sushi night, breakfast day. I pick the kids up from school, drop them off at school, take them to every pediatrician appointment, get them up from every nap. We schedule this interview around me waking them up and spending time with them in the playroom after their nap at 3:30. The entire life in existence is balanced and built around like being there and showing that our children that this is possible. You can have an extraordinary love and have the same love that me and your mother have, and be incredibly successful and live a harmonious, balanced, incredibly high energy, happy life. We're showing you, not telling you. We see it in their development. We see it in the way that like their teachers talk about them at school and how they perform in different sort of things and stuff that they get into, and really trying to instill in them that they are lucky and they create any life that they want, and everything starts in their mind.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening or watching. I'm going to be putting these interviews out in a few different areas, and wherever you find it, wherever is easiest, please like, share, subscribe, comment, etc. I welcome any and all of your feedback, or feel free to reach out to me directly on my website at jaredgold.com, jaredgold.com, whether you might want to collaborate on an interview or me hosting a show, or if you look through my past work experience and my skills, seeing other ways we can collaborate. I'd love to hear it. Thanks so much, and looking forward to sharing more of these interviews.